Bishop Karel, Choennie, we are very happy to have you on this our Catholic broadcast, Catholic program. Uh, you have been to Guyana many times, I guess, but this time certainly you are here and you are experiencing the church and the people of Guyana, and the meeting that we are having so far. How do you gauge this meeting? Is it kind of taking root in the people of God here in this diocese?
Yeah, I'm very surprised to see so many people coming together in a spirit of unity and togetherness, and they being very much aware of being part of the Universal Church. I noticed that because they have some knowledge of the encyclicals the Pope has written, this Pope and predecessors, and they can engage in a very good discussion with each other. It made a great impact on me, and it certainly shows that the church is very much alive and it's not closed on itself, but has a view open to the world, and the world's biggest problem is the environment.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Bishop Cardinal Humes was mentioning about the courage that the church Pope's vision for the world and environment particularly is that we need to be more courageous. Is it the situation in your diocese in Suriname? It's more or less like here, for example, environment. When we talk about environment, somebody spoke about companies coming for mining, so without not caring for the nature as such. Is it the same reality in your diocese as well?
Yes, we need to be very courageous because let's take for example the gold mining on a smaller scale, where the people use mercury, they pollute the rivers. They live in the interior. It's very inaccessible. They have their own, say, private army. So even the police is afraid of going in, and we know that a lot of irregularities are happening. There's forced labor, there's prostitution, there's violence, the use of drugs, and that takes a lot of courage for anyone to go against that and speak against that. But I think we cannot be silent on this issue, because it brings a lot of human suffering with it, because young people are promised a bright future, but only to experience that when they go into the gold mines, they're forced to work, or they are forced into prostitution, and they become lonely, and they get into all kind of irregular activities. So it takes a lot of courage to deal on that level. Also on the national level, because the big companies are invited by the government, and they provide employment, so people don't like to hear the critical side also that comes with the mining of the gold. So it takes courage to speak out and to work together with other groups in society to develop a vision that will help us to explore the natural resources in such a way that everybody can profit from it, especially the local communities, because the local communities, they suffer the most. The big company comes and takes away the living from the small miners. So it does take a lot of courage.
Bishop, perhaps Guyana and Suriname share quite a lot in common. And also we know many of the groups here from here, they go to your diocese to experience the church there, and perhaps they're having that rich experience of the culture and particularly the church in Suriname. So, how can we, little more better way, we can develop that conversation between two dioceses? Uh, Language is a barrier, of course, but could we think about that?
Well, one of the things we have to can work together on is indeed the environment. We share the same coastline with the same vulnerable ness to the sea, right? And one of the environmental changes is the rising of the sea, and the way to counteract that is to protect the forest, the mangrove forest, and that keeps the sea at acceptable level. And the rivers, we have the great reserves of fresh water. And so if we make people together conscious of the fact that we should be mindful of keeping these resources pure, then it will bring a closer sense of being a part of the same region, a part of the same people with the same history, and we can be example of the two countries opening up more to each other. Because yes, right now we have an artificial border, but if we relax on all the strict regulations, we can have a better flow of people back and forth, of laborers back and forth, of expertise back and forth. So I hope for the future that there will be a greater cooperation between the nations, Suriname and Guyana, and the churches can lead in that.
Thank you, Bishop. Lastly, very important for us here in this diocese to hear from you, your message for the people of Guyana, and also about the vocations in your own diocese. Here, it is a problem, but we are trying to somehow encourage our young people to take up that challenge, to continue the mission of God in this diocese. But is it a challenge there? And finally, if you can give a message to all of us, we'll be very happy.
Indeed, we have a problem with vocations as well, and maybe our problem in Suriname is even bigger than in Guyana, because we are Dutch speaking, and we have therefore a very isolated position. You can only function well in Suriname if you know Dutch, whereas Guyana can ask people from India or Africa or Asia to come and work here. We have the challenge of bringing the good news to the poorest of the poor, and that message can be brought by everybody. Everybody should feel that they are called to be courageous and spread the good news. And more and more, I find that the lay people in our communities, they really take on that responsibility, and it is the task of the bishop and the priest to involve everybody in the ministry.
And would you like to give us a message of, as you leave to go to your diocese?
Yes, that we educate the youth to love nature, to be aware of the fact that we are very blessed in the Guyanas with a big biodiversity, but you can only appreciate that biodiversity if you have educators who tell you about the different birds we have, about the different plants we have, and the medicinal plants we have in nature. So it sounds like a big forest, a big bush which we want to get rid of, but the more we get to know it, the more we love it, the more we will understand it, the more we will see that God has given us a bit of the paradise to live in, and that we should cherish it and protect it and interest the youth to have more love for nature and for wildlife.
Thank you, Bishop, for coming on our show. And
Thank you.
we will certainly try to promote this, as you said, to make this as a paradise, both Suriname and Guyana and other Pan-Amazonian regions. And hopefully that we can have a little more conversation with you and your diocese language again.
Yes.
But that should not be, that should not stop us from being having that conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.